Hey everyone, it's Meridy here, and I am here today with our little free, it's basically a free sample of our new installment of kind of a subsidiary of Not Just for Boys Kit Club. As you may know, if you've read anything about this, we have been getting asked a lot for some more feminine looking layouts and kits, but as you know, Not Just for Boys is not really the place to buy flowery and heart kits, etc. Like, we are really geared towards masculine looking kits and things that aren't flowers and hearts and lots of pink. So we're basically the opposite of that. But since so many people were enjoying our layouts and our projects with masculine supplies, we decided to start doing these classes. They're just simply virtual classes online. You've received an information like instruction sheet with photos and everything of what I'm going to go over today in the video. And this is our free sample. So this is like a mini version of our real classes. So for instance, today we're going to be doing these two layouts, and in the full size class versions that you pay for, it's anywhere between 4 and 6 layouts. So this is like a mini version of our class so that you can kind of see what the classes are like and see if that's something you want to invest in to purchase a big one. So here I am. So I already showed you what 2 layouts we're going to be making today. So right now I'm going to show you what products I'm going to be using to make these 2 layouts. And it's a very minimal number of products. You'll see that in all of the classes that are in these hearts and flower classes, it's a fairly minimal amount of product that we start out with, and we use it up to just bare scraps. So I'm going to show you what I'm working with today. So if you might have some of this in your stash, you can use it or pull something similar from your stash. That's how you're going to want to work with these classes. We do not offer like a physical kit of these supplies on our website. Okay, so this is just kind of classes making feminine layouts, and you can use different supplies than the ones I'm going to show you, but I'm going to show you what I'm working with today. So I've got this True Colors sticker sheet from Simple Stories, which is all these bright, feminine, girly colors that I love so much. And then we got the following paper. We've got 1 sheet of the 12 by 12 True Colors. It's called Tag Elements, and it's just 15 tags on one side, and then the back side is also 15 tags, but they're just a little more neutral and not as patterned. Okay, then this is my favorite paper. It seriously is one of my favorite papers of all time. This is called True Colors, Simple Stories True Colors, and the paper is called Can't Get Enough, and I seriously can't get enough of this paper, for real. I never buy 2 sheets of a paper, and I actually bought this paper when it first came out, and I bought 2 sheets of it, and I've already used both of them, and then I used another sheet to make these layouts. Something about it I love so much, and that's the B-side. And then another paper from the True Colors line, and this one is called Life in Color, and it's just stars on one side and paintbrushes on the other side. And then I used 2 sheets of white cardstock to put this together. And then I also pulled a few things from my stash. I hope I can remember them all right here in this introduction part. I might pull out more things as we work through the video because I might have forgotten. But I did use Distress Oxide Speckled Egg ink and a blending tool brush. I used a paper distressor. This one's by Tim Holtz, but you can even use a nail file or the edge of scissors to rough up your paper with the edge of the scissors. So anything to distress the edges of the paper. I used some thin twine, baker's twine. I used teal. I don't have it sitting here, but you can see in the pictures. I used teal twine. And then I used some foam dimensional adhesive. And I also cut the title. You got a download for a digital cut file that says My Happy Place. So you can cut that title if you'd like on your digital cutting machine. Or if you don't have a digital cutting machine, you can simply just sub out the titles that are on here, or use alphabet stickers, or not put a title. You know, there's lots of options, but you do have the file to cut out the title, My Happy Place, and it's matted. Like there's the file for the letters and the background, or the image for the letters and the background in the file. Oh, and you also got a download of the instruction sheet. So if you're watching this video and you do not have the instruction sheet, I am putting a link in the description of this video that's going to link you straight to our website. And like I said, this is a free sample, so it's free, but you just have to go there and purchase for $0 the class, and then it will download the instruction sheet with the cut file and everything to you. So I am going to go cut these papers to the dimensions outlined on the back of the instruction sheet, and I will be right back. Okay guys, on one of the white sheets of paper that you're gonna cut apart, I hope it's not too confusing in the instructions, so I'm gonna just show you here really quick. This piece came out of the middle. Okay, so you have a whole piece of paper, and the easiest way to show you is to cut 3/4 of an inch off the top, 3/4 of an inch off the side, and then gut what's left with 1 inch around each side. So you're left with this, okay? That's the easiest way to do that. It looks more complicated in the directions than it actually is. So let me start by showing you how layout, the first page number 1 comes together. And you're gonna start with the other sheet of white paper because you had 2 sheets of white cardstock. So you're gonna start with the other sheet of white cardstock. And then you're going to want to grab the piece that you gutted the other paper with and use it to mat your 2 photos. So that's why we had to gut that paper, because we use it for photo mats. So you already have 2 pieces right here that you're gonna mat your photos on first. And then you're gonna go ahead and mat them on this white paper next, okay? Just thin little mats. So that's your 2 photos. I used 3x4 photos. Now, if you want, you can use a 4x6 photo. You just wouldn't wanna cut that, or you can piece it together like that and make 1 4x6 photo, or even a 4x6 photo going that way, or 2 3x4 photos going that way. You can use different variations than exactly what I've used here, okay? And the white paper to mat. Next, you're gonna take this bigger piece of the floral paper, and I put an 8.5 inch paper plate on top of mine, and I just did it so I took up as wide as I could get on here. Obviously part of the circle will be cut off because it's going off the page, and I was trying to save as much paper as possible. So I just used an 8.5 inch paper plate and put it on there. If you have a circle cutter or a circle template, that would obviously work just fine. I traced a paper plate and cut it by hand. You can't even tell because not that much of the circle is showing. You could also simply just use this piece of paper right here like a rectangle and just leave it like this, not worry about the circular element to it at all. So for this video, I'm just gonna leave it sit here. Okay, next you have this longer piece of the yellow, and if you wanted, you could leave it long as it is, and it would just go really far. I just cut mine down a little bit. I cut it shorter. So it's up to you. When I make my cutting guides, I kind of leave a little wiggle room. I don't know how big your pictures are that you're using here, so maybe you do need it to be quite long, but we'll pretend like it's a little shorter. Okay, and then all of these tags, you have cut apart all of these tags, and you don't have to use the same tags that I chose. You could use any of the tags you want, but for the sake of this video, I'm gonna use the exact same tags that I chose. And you're gonna wanna cut the triangles off the tag and hole punch the little hole so it actually looks like a tag. And those get wedged under here. Okay, this long strip right here, you can cut with decorative edge scissors or a scallop border punch, and it will go down the side right there. One more tag I used up here, if I can find it. Okay, I used the back side of this tag, and I made it go off the edge, so I cut it. It's a 4 inch tall tag. I cut it at 2 inches, and I saved the bottom 2 inches to use for my next layout, okay? So we'll put that there. And then this little piece here is just a scrap of the yellow floral paper. So there's one more little scrap left, and I don't use it anywhere. You might even have this, if you're cutting this piece shorter, you might even have a little scrap right there, and I just notched the edge and put it up there, okay? So that's that little area. And then these couple strips right here are actually the border strips. because I like to use every little piece. So one of them is the stars, and one of them are these tags. Okay, and I have them both going like underneath this photo. Okay, let me try to maneuver this so it's like the exact same way. I have them going underneath the photo. So I simply trimmed them right here. I'm gonna trim it. And these two pieces stick out at the other side of the photo. Okay, so it looks like these are stretching behind your whole photo, but really they're not. They're just sticking out of both sides. Okay, guys, this isn't adhered down, so it's, you know, kind of moving a little, but you get the idea. Okay, so now that we've got everything laid out, I came in with the sticker sheet and started adding stickers. So I put this little car up here and this word smile right here, and it's popped up on foam tape. This little film canister comes from right there, and these three little diamonds come from right, there's two right, oh no, these three little diamonds up there. Okay, down here I've got the little box of crayons from right there, and this camera I popped up on foam tape, so it's a little dimensional. This Viewmaster slide is right there, and I popped this camera up on foam tape, and I used these two little diamonds and this little diamond from right there. And that is simply, I just tied some of my twine in a bow. I didn't even really tie it around the tags. I just tied it in a bow and glued it right on top of the whole of the tags. And that is how simply this first layout came together. So now let's move on with the second layout. This is gonna be the second layout. And we're gonna start with this outside gutted paper that you have. Okay, and then we're just gonna fill in layers of what you've gutted as well. So you've gutted that white piece. That's the piece that I showed you that we cut 3/4 of an inch off two sides and then gutted what was left. And then you've got the inside of the stars from this background, and it's just gonna go right on top. Okay, and then you still have a little of this white paper that was taken out of the middle of here. We used some of it to mat the last pictures. You can mat this photo with what's left of this too, and that should pretty much use up most of that piece. So just mat your photo on that. And then this part, you can pick whichever tags you want. I only have one leftover tag. I believe it's this one. It's the only tag that I did not use in this whole layout. So I'm just gonna, I would cut the corners off and punch the holes first. But get your tags laid out how you want them. And then you'll see that the tags are very tall. They're too tall like this to stay large. Okay, this little extra piece here. On our last video, remember we cut this 2 inches off? I'm gonna go ahead and cut it right now so it doesn't confuse you. We used this on the last layout. We're gonna use the bottom of this tag down here. It's so covered up by your picture, you're not gonna be able to tell that it's missing. But what you're gonna wanna do is cut a half of an inch off the bottom of every single one of these tags. So they're just a little bit shorter, and then they'll fit really nice. So you're gonna trim a half of an inch off the bottom of every single tag, not this one. You're gonna lay them out how you like them. You can either leave them straight like I did, you can angle them a little, you can put some closer and some further, you know, it's up to you how you wanna lay them out on your page. And then I took my little distressing tool here and I just distressed the edges of every tag. You can use a pair of scissors if you don't have a distressing tool, and just run the edge of the scissors over it. It does literally the same exact thing. Okay guys, it does the exact same thing. Okay, and I did that, get all these scraps off here. I did that for all of the tags. And then I simply just started layering things up, and I adhered the tags down first, how I liked them. Then I got my picture and I adhered it just a little bit in the middle because I wanted to be able to slide things underneath it. And then I came in and started embellishing. I picked a couple different words. Mine says, "I am happy and here for it," up here. Down here it says, "Heck to the yes," and this was so great. Again, from right here. "Documenting my days" came from in here too. These little scallops right there, I have them on both sides of my picture. They came from this. I just cut 5 scallops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I cut 5 of them right here and 3 of them right there because they look good cut in odd numbers to me. Then I used this tiny little floral sprig underneath here. I used this bigger floral sprig popped up on foam tape right there. I used this one over here, also popped up on foam tape. I used this little journal under here. I kind of wedged it under with a little heart on top. The heart, it came from this right here. Oh, I used the word amazing, which came from down here. The 24/7, the 7 is flush to the back of the layout. The 24 is popped up on foam tape right on top of it. And then I went to my cutting machine and I cut out the title, "My Happy Place," that the file came with this class. If you don't have a cutting machine, you can use stickers or alphabet stickers or anything you want, or use like maybe my story, since we already used the word smile. "Hi, it's me." There's lots, "This is my life." You can use lots of different things from the sticker sheet for your title if you don't have a cutting machine. And then I simply tied 3 more bows with my twine. And again, I didn't tie them through the tag. I just tied them and glued them right on top of the tags. Oh, and this little sticker came from right here, and this little clipboard sticker came from right here. Okay, guys, that is all I did to create these 2 layouts, and really, this is all the paper that I'm left with after creating those. This is it, a tag and some branding strips. That's all. So I love doing this and using up things, and I hope you've enjoyed this class and know a little bit what to expect if you decide to purchase any of our other Hearts and Flowers virtual classes. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.